know.
Well, that's grand. In that case, I'd like to know if I'm on the right track about something else. Are the monsters missing because they've already eaten? Or is there some other reason why they've all mysteriously vanished?
The guide pauses for a moment, his eyes close, and he becomes completely still.
It's possible.
Vanilla glares at the guide over the adamants. It's as though he heard nothing after the first line. The guide spoke. The guide is unfazed.
If you enter these bridges, all you should expect is death. That is no secret.
That's true.
You need to stop putting so much energy into finding meaning, or else you will end up like the others.
Vanilla ends up speechless, caught off guard by the guide, openly discussing his accusation. The guide continues at Bellamy's silence, annoyance leaking into his voice.
You think that the results would have been different if only I had said more or did something differently. But that is not true. The conclusion would be exactly the same. If Lou hadn't died when he did, he would have been lost at some other point during the trip.
Lou?
Yes, Lou was his name. I had spoken with him in the past. He wanted to cross the bridges. I had deemed him unfit. He was far too desperate and unprepared. There's no helping someone like that.
The guide sounds even more agitated as he elaborates. Bellamy seems to be finished with being surprised. His anger reignites.
It's all well and true. Why haven't you died yet? How is it that you've been able to cross these horrendous bridges over and over again without suffering the same consequences as everyone else?
The guide's face twists into a vicious snarl. He shouts,
I have died! I have no life to give! Everything I am, everything I could have been, was surrendered to this lake. That is the only reason why I'm able to stand before you now.
"'Cause you died? 'Cause you're dead? You're a dead man?"
I can show you the way, and I can give you advice on how to survive the perils you will face. That is all I'm able to offer. Is that not enough for you? What else do you want from me? Kindness? Sympathy? It's been far too many years since I was capable of giving anything like that.
He finally stops to catch his breath, though the emotion in his eyes still shines intently. There is no response from either of us, and an agonizing silence permeates the air. No one dares to even move. The tension is cut as the boards beneath me start to creak. My eyes dart down. The bridge is sinking rapidly. Instinctively, I jump backwards, but the new section of the bridge groans horribly as it starts to tilt into the water. Oh boy, they keep getting farther and farther away. With each disappearing platform, I move off.
Kika!
I look up at Bellamy's call. My chest tightens when I see him, and the guide on what has become the other side of a small chasm. I leap back just in time as the bridge under me snaps like a twig. Glancing over again, they keep getting farther and farther away. Each disappearing platform I move off. Dread creeps up my neck, and I nearly lose my footing once I realize what's happening. Desperately stumbling backwards, I finally manage to regain my balance. I use this to leap far enough back that the bridge I land on doesn't immediately start to fall apart under my weight. And in another three swift steps, I am finally on a sturdy wood. The bridge reluctantly stops, shifting and settle. The only trace left of what was once the bridge. The only trace left of what was once a huge section of bridge is a few splintered boards floating in the murky water. The lake consumed it. The lake consumed it, Somehow, I'm not surprised. Regaining my bearings, I face what has become my circumstance. I am now separated from Bellamy and the guide by far wider gorge than anyone could leap. Alrighty. Get my mouse ready. My throat goes dry as I teeter at the end of the bridge, mind wildly scrambling. A solution that doesn't come. I lock onto Bellamy's face, he completely aghast, darting from one side of the bridge to the other like a panicked animal. There is no mistaking that he's desperate to help me in some way. However, there's also no mistaking that there aren't any options available to him. He turns to the guy with pleading eyes, all his earlier hostility sunken with the bridges. I'm too far off to grasp what Bellamy is asking, but I can get an impression he is seeing if there's another way. The guy turns to me. He completely cooled down from earlier interaction back to his same placid expression. He focuses back on Bellamy, who has now gripped him by the cloak. The guide says one word, judging from the look of pure terror on Bellamy's face. I can only assume it was no. There was no way back to them. The guide frees himself from Bellamy's grasp, continues speaking. Bellamy still seems horribly shaken at his words. I can barely see from here, but I think he's quivering. As I watch the two discuss my fate, unable to say anything, fear starts to crawl over me. My arms run too cold, too freezing. It's not long before the rest of my body follows. I notice Bellamy cover his face with his still shuddering hand. The guide's voice echoes loudly across the water, separating me from them.
Go back and take the next bridge you come across that goes west. There may be enough time for you to find your own way.
I blink, taken back for a moment before I quickly regain my composure. That's right, this isn't over. I still have my lantern with me. The prowlers are less active, and if the guide says that is possible, it could be true. I nod solemnly at his words and yell back,
I'll meet you there! Don't wait for me!
He bows his head and starts to slowly back away from the edge. Bellamy pulls his head from his hand to look at me. Even across the water, I can tell that he's crying. I smile forlornly at him as the wind whips against my back. I speak softly.
You need to go.
There is no way he could have heard me, yet I'm confident that the sentence got across. I spin my heels and run back the way we came, searching for the bridge the guide said to take. I can only hope that we all safely reunite before the night ends. I spare a brief glance behind me. However, there's not a trace of them or even the dead end. I was stranded at. With a painful contracting of my heart, I realize that I'm truly alone now. Quickly, I shake off the thought and refocus my attention on what's in front of me. The first branching of the path comes into reach. I skid into a full stop in front of it. The path west is as dark and desolated as every bridge. It's impossible to see what's down the twisting way. The previous conversation comes floating back to me. Now that I'm here, I must face that concern. Is the guide reliable? Can he be trusted? I had to leave so they could go on without me, being weighed down. And that I don't regret. However, I can't help but wonder if the guy could have given me proper suggestion because of the sinking bridges. A mistake could have been made. It is also possible he knowingly gave false hope to keep the situation calm, or perhaps he intentionally set me to the wrong path because it would be easier for them if I did not make it. I look between the pathways based on my direction. It seems as though other options could potentially connect me to them before the west does. Yet I cannot possibly know until I move forward. I need to make a decision. We are going with the guide's path. No, I can't allow doubt to take control. We've known from the beginning that there is only one path that has led travelers to safety, his. I will take the guide on his word. Without wasting an additional moment, I make my way across the western bridge. I walk at a moderately brisk pace, not wanting to risk tripping or running out of energy in a moment where I need it. If the eeriness of the lake was disconcerting before, now it is overwhelming. The blizzard-like fog drifting over the waters limits my vision to the span of my arms. The utter silence was a comfort, despite how overworldly it felt. But whispering of the lake has started to stir now. I gulp despite they've noticed me. As their chattering grows, I consider briefly if the others hear them as well, or if they can't come out specifically because I am on my own. I straighten my back and walk more surely. I cannot let them believe I am an easy target. I even consider keeping my sword in hand, but it doesn't seem entirely likely they would realize it's something that could hurt them. To keep my mind from wandering into the dark places, I count my steps like we used to in training. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Despite my best efforts, things are starting to get to me. My worries wash over me, causing painful twinges underneath my clothes that make me jerk and twitch like a fly-bitten horse. The whispering inhuman voices, the feeling of vulnerability, the horrible thought of being hopelessly lost, all melded together, is consuming me. My pace breaks from the steady rhythm of my accounting set. It quickens more as I start to succumb to fear. My brisk steps turn into long, frantic strides. Something in me whispers, "Faster, go, faster, don't let them catch you," and I listen. I break into a run like moving on landmines. Flashes of fear explode in my mind and drive my feet harder and faster, stronger along the path, until suddenly my sense of reason returns and I stop dead. My chest rises and falls with deep, heavy breaths as I try to calm myself down. The monsters erupt into an inharmonious chorus of what sounds to be wicked laughs. I fight the urge to shout back at the creatures. This feels like a nightmare I will never wake up from. I take another breath and resume my measured progress. Even after the crossroad, I continue with the guide's simple direction, keeping west every chance I get. I have no other hints for this labyrinth. It's difficult to tell how much time has passed. It must be at least an hour, judging by how much energy I've expended. Since I recomposed myself, I have not stopped walking for a second. Despite how much time has worn on, the route still feels like an endless abyss. No, boy. Then I hear the noise which causes a shuddering chill to creep down my spine. An uneven clicking followed by a squelching sound. That's a prowler. I immediately turn to look behind me. There's nothing. I breathe out relieved. My ears search for the source of the noise, but with all the babble the Nixie are making, the direction is clouded. I strain my ears. That's it. The noise is drifting slowly from one of the connecting paths up ahead. I can faintly tell the noise is drawing nearer. The prowler has not yet arrived, but soon its path will intersect with my own. I will not wait for it to reveal itself, leaving me two options. I can run past the bridge, connecting it to get ahead of it, or I can turn back and find a new path to take. Go past it. I have faith that following the same path I've been is for the best. I steel myself and build up speed. I get closer and closer to the branch with the lurking threat and pick up my pace, so I'm sprinting. I hear a gurgling hiss as I pass through the crossroad. It must have been close enough to be pained by the light. I barely made it. However, I didn't hear any splash. It is still nearby. I look behind me to see at least decided to come no further. Oh hi! Horrified, I realize that it's potentially following me. It is no longer mindlessly dragging itself through blackness. I have become its target. Hi there, buddy. How you doing? Its limbs bend wildly and unnaturally. It looks as though it's only barely keeping itself upright as its torso wobbles on its hips, and you are awfully getting really close to me. That isn't stopping it from giving chase. I focus my view back ahead and continue to run. My breath rapidly becomes ragged. I can still hear the squishing footsteps of the prowler behind me as it lunges its body forward in an unnatural gait. I don't know. Without warning, the bridge lurches to one side. Catching me completely off guard, I lose my footing and slam onto the damp surface of the bridge. My light falls with me, painfully snuffing out. Oh boy. Splashes. The excited stirring of many voices come from the lake. Alright, Nixie. What do you got planned with me today? You gonna come after me? I know you are. How? Huh? How? Why is it rotting? Or did they push the support beams? I'm left with no time to ponder the mystery as the monster draws near. I scramble back onto my feet as it closes in. Grabbing my dark lantern, I resume running to put some space between us again. I open the latch on the lantern and pull out a match. I'll have to slow down, at least briefly, to properly light the flames without blowing it out. With death still on my heels, I must not let one precious moment be wasted. I set my plan, and with everything in hand, I began to decrease my pace. Moving as fast as I am capable, I place a lit match inside the lantern, and it will catches fire. As the flames grows, I can hear the awful footsteps behind me begin to peter out. I steal a glance behind me. It has truly stopped. The return of the light seems to catch it off guard. Thankfully, it declines, coming closer. Stare it down. I manage to calm my mind down from the commotion and recall what the guide said. When we first encounter a prowler, you don't have to run or fight. You only need to keep moving while keeping an eye on it. I can't keep running forever, and doing so only seemed to invigorate them further. I fix my stare on it forcefully as the creature recoils from my relit lantern. Yeah, back you savage. Moving at a steady but brisk pace, I continue forward, making sure to check behind me often. What was that? I felt something on my foot. That was weird. It creeps at a distance. However, the thing makes no more dramatic attempts to engage with me, choosing only to lurk. I'm set on edge by its presence, but in a way, it's strangely beneficial. It makes it harder to get lost within my own mind when the tension in the air is so high. Reframing my goals, I go down the bridge after bridge, making my way making my way to what I can only hope it hope is the way out. Eventually the prowler halts as the principal of one of the branches, frustrated, paces back and forth on the border as though something physically stopping it from going further. I decided to take that as a good omen. The journeyman returns to one of the isolation, even the whispers of Sinnlos have ceased. Suddenly, then I realize the black sky is turning dark blue. Dawn is beginning to rise. At this point, there is no use keeping up my strength. I sprint down the bridge, going faster and faster as I hold out for some sort of sign, anything. Eventually, I receive one, the silhouette of land peaks into my field of vision. I can scarcely believe it as I blink away the tears. With renewed spirit, I press down the bridge with increased speed, desperately trying to outpace the sun. The glowing red orb peeks over into view against the obscured sky, and begins to ascend. Unfeeling with each step, the sky brightens over so slightly more. I race through the the oppressive fog, and there's a voice in the distance. It isn't the horrifying sounds of monsters looming. It's Bellamy. He's calling out for me. I shout back to him through the dark, foggy void. My voice comes out as horribly weak wheeze between deep, shaky breaths. I am almost certain he couldn't hear me. I'm not bothered by that, however. I will find him. I'm coming, Bellamy. Please just wait for me. I keep running against the increasing light, and his figure comes to view, here on the bridge. Bellamy races towards me at high speed and doesn't slow down when he gets near. He grabs a hold of my side and supports my dropping frame as I slow to a stop. I barely choke out a sentence as I strain to catch my breath.
Why are you here?
I was looking for you, of course. I knew you had to be nearby. You had to be. Don't worry over it. I wasn't reckless enough to go in the dark. I waited until there was some sun and stayed on one path.
He grins at his own planning skills. I grow cross at his risky behavior.
The bridges could have sunk.
Despite the okay, my eyes are getting... Ooh. Despite the admonishment, I'm terribly relieved to see him again.
You are free to give me a proper lecture some other time. Right now, I'd say it's time for us to get out of this damned place. Are you still able to run?
I put all my weight back onto my feet and nod confidently, though my legs still lightly quake beneath me. Bellamy gives me a reassuring smile, something I had come to believe I would never got to see again.
Don't worry, we're nearly there.
I provide a battered smile in return. The two of us tear across the bridges in the direction of Bellamy points out, and just as he promised, the end comes into view. Against all odds, we both make it. I nearly tremble off the bridges onto solid ground. I crouch on the ground and lay my head between my legs, unable to stand. I rest there quietly for a few moments, taking time to allow my breathing and emotions to settle down. Finally, I look up from my lap and see Bemeli standing ahead of me. Both of our eyes are flowing with tears. Bellamy walks over and sits down in the dirt nearby. He gazes deeply into my eyes with a gentle smile gracing his lips. No words needed to be exchanged between us to know what the other is thinking. I'm glad for it because I'm not sure what I'll be able to speak, even if I needed to. The sound of the sloshing and wood lurching captures our attention as the bridges begin to sink. In a few minutes, only the lonely docks is left. With that, the guy walks towards me.
It is time to leave this place. There is nothing left for you here.
Upon being addressed by him, I rise to my feet. He has a calm look on his face, though there is a force behind his serenity. Open my mouth to attempt to speak. However, I quickly realize I have little idea of what to say. Do I thank him for this? Should I give him my trust? Was our survival because of him despite him? Even now I cannot know for certain. And then the fog is removed from my thoughts. After everything that has happened, it becomes clear. I harden my face to match his serious disposition. There is something he is certainly right of. This lake isn't a place to linger. Going round and round in circles will never help. We cannot submit our lives to our minds in Sinnlos. For better or for ill, there is only one person who can help those once they are within its grasp. The guide. If he were removed, the place would be no safer. Oh my god, okay. My eyes, I've been looking at the screen. My eyes are kind of focusing, getting a little agitated. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of moisture and make them refocus. And as I'm rubbing my eyes, I can like see black and white lines. It's really, really weird. Okay. Not to mention I'm wearing glasses. Okay, I think that's better. What I must do, if I truly want to defend others, is keep them from coming here at all. When I return to my village, I intend to make that information accurately known to our elder. For that to happen, we must leave.
Goodbye.
Oh. His eyes narrow as he looks over me. I begin feeling comfortable. Uncomfortable under his security. But for a moment, I could swear I noticed him smiling slightly. However, it could easily be a trick of the morning sun. I look away to face Bellamy, not wanting to get caught up in this any longer.
Bamele, we're leaving.
You sound like a dude, Justin. He lifts his head at my voice and grins through his expression, quickly sours into a frown. He shows no eagerness to move forward and keeps his distance. He still feels regret that it is only us who are leaving. I emphasize greatly with him, knowing that feeling is one we will never escape from, even after this lake is far behind us. However, he manages to weakly smile again.
Those words are music to my ears. Let's head out.
Bellamy walks towards the forest without even acknowledging the guide. That is for the best on the whole. We must get away from here. It saddens me to think Bellamy doesn't even have the strength to become angry. Though perhaps he had epiphany about this lake in the same way that I did. We will be able to discuss that on another occasion. Despite the firmness I so intently try to have, my heart starts to waver. Margaret, Lou, they're both still here. I wish to give them a proper farewell. I want to do something. My eyes begin to water, and I almost turn back around. No, it is done. I need to remember that they would never want me to ascribe their lives into Sinnlos. Nothing would disgrace their memory more. I will keep them in my thoughts without allowing the lake to poison me. With my steadfastness truly regained, I march into the light with no hesitation. With a solemn heart, I at last arrived at Humor. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. The urgency meant that my mind was occupied with other matters. I worked tirelessly to aid Humor's own guards in forking back the brigadiers. But during the moments of the calm and when the sun went down, I would remember the lake. Bellamy was a great help during the fight. His outwardly positive demeanor lifted the spirits of many around him, but I could see from the shadows in his eyes that he hadn't forgot what he went through. Nor could I miss the distance that had grown between us. He spoke fewer words to me, and I never gave him many either, yet he seemed stronger than I had seen before. I admire his will. When receiving payments for his services, the guide must give a report of all those who both succeeded and failed to cross the lake. The name and fate of Margaret soon become known in humor. I added that she was an intelligent, thoughtful person and urged them to show respect for her passing. I hope that one day I will have the opportunity to go to her hometown and give my own proper respects. His retelling of events had little to say of Lou. I know that is because he was not meant to be there and was never one to open up, but it still saddens me to face how I never truly got to know who he was. I can only pray that those who cared for him will learn the truth of what happened. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. He will remain obscured in that realm of fog and fear, mysterious light off in the distance that is ever out of reach of the real world. I worry about when I must return home to my usual life. It will be difficult to continue as things were before. One thing I know for certain is that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross Sinnlos again. I have already told Humor leaders the same. Not a single more person should have to experience what we did. Its darkness will remain with me for the rest of my days. Though so much was lost, I try to believe that our lessons will keep others from suffering the same way, and in the end something will be gained. Well, alright. Wow. Alright. Well, that's Voices of the Lake. And it's been an adventure. It really has. I really enjoyed it. I had fun. Uh, it's kind of a short one, like as far as like and like as far as the horror goes. As far as like the horror goes, I mean, it's still. I thought there was gonna be like some jump scares. I thought we got to learn more about the Nixie. I thought could learn more about like what kind of Nixie was there, like what lurked inside the waters besides the prowlers, like what other monsters was in the water, like uh the I wanted something else, but of course there are actually there are bonuses. There are three bonus events in total. One that does not include story spoilers, and two that do. The first event is unlocked by getting any endings where Kikia crosses Sinnlos and reaches the other side alive. The other events are unlocked by getting a specific ending. Right now you have only one event unlocked. We hope you enjoy it. A magical night? I'm running. Keep running and running. I cannot stop. If I do, then... Ah! It all happens in an instant. I'm surely falling forward, my feet slipping from underneath me. I hit the boards and everything goes black. Excuse, alright? Bits and pieces of sounds make their way into my ears. I can't understand what they mean. All the noises threaten to rouse me from my sleep. My groggy body protests. I'm not ready to wake up yet. Hello? My silent pleading does no good, and what I now realize is a voice calling out for me continues. My heavy eyelashes flutter open. You're awake, thank goodness. Why is there a prowler talking to me? I rub the back of my head while sitting up, taking in the surroundings. Oh, a man stands before me. He is tall, with slender fingers, and the most enhancing eyes I've ever seen. He extends his hand out in my direction, offering to help me up. Nervously, I accept. Thank you. It is no trouble. I couldn't possibly leave a lady alone out here in a state like that. Who are you? My name is Dilbert. Alright. My eyes widen. It's such a unique name. I can't help wondering if it's foreign. I'm Kikia. Well, Kikia the steadfast, but I don't want to brag about having a title. The elders of my village just gave it to me because I do so much for them. How remarkable. Not really. You are too modest, Kikia. Tell me what brings you out to this neck of the bridges. I have to assume it isn't for the fine scenery. Ha ha ha. I hope that the darkness of the night covers my cheeks, which have gone red by now. Dilbert makes for some very fine scenery, and he is charming too. He's a prowler. How is he charming? Okay. Somehow I can't seem to remember. Everything before you got here is a blur. I'm terribly sorry. In that case, I suppose you wouldn't know the way to the shore either. No. I could escort you there if you wish. Sure. Then escort you shall. Thank you. The two of us begin walking side by side. It's embarrassing to be standing so close together, but the bridges aren't too wide, and it's still nice. I sneak a glance at him. Dildred, what are you doing before coming across me? I was merely taking a stroll. I see. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. You have done no such thing, in truth. Even if you had not needed my assistance to find your way back, I had hoped to invite you to join my walk regardless. Dildred. We walk in silence, enjoying one another's presence. So, Kakia, can you remember anything else? I'm not sure. Can you tell me about yourself instead? What do you do for a living? He chuckles and I blush. I hope I didn't seem too eager. I don't have a career per se. I'm quite self-sufficient. There's no need for me to go out and work to support myself. I see. I do enjoy spending my time walking these bridges and encountering all the unique individuals who do the same. Do you usually take walks with them? No, this is the first time. Somehow it felt like I couldn't leave you alone. I see. Much too soon the shore comes to view. One of old boards of the docks breaks as I step on it. I begin falling backwards. My eyes shut and I brace for impact. But it never comes. My descent was stopped by something sturdy. Oh, I cautiously open my eyes again. Dildred caught me and I'm being held by his arms. It's a prowler. Blushing. This is clearly someone's doing. I mean, it's cute and all. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. We're so close. Fine, I lean in, removing the little distance remaining between us. Just give him a kiss. Kiss. We part quickly, both bashful. I appreciate you walking me back. It was my pleasure. Sadly, I must return now. Farewell, Kakia, the steadfast. May our paths in the maze called life cross again. Yes. All I can do is watch as he disappears into the mist. Goodbye, Dildred. After that, I went back to my normal life. Sometimes it seems like that time where I kissed him under the moonlight was just a dream. No, I shake off such thoughts. I have to believe it was real, that one day we will meet again. No matter what happens, I'll always remember that magical night. Best ending. Thank you for playing. Oh, okay. So there are multiple endings, and of course with each path you take, you unlock gallery. So, what is this? Oh, right, okay. And this one? Okay. Yeah. So I think next time we're gonna see what happens when I don't turn. We're gonna try to save Margaret. Yeah, we're just gonna see. We're just gonna see what happens when I don't. When I save Margaret, because everything just happened so fast. But anyway, thank you all for stopping. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a fun and wonderful time joining me on this adventure. Please stay, and I'll be doing more. There's multiple endings. We gotta see what happens on multiple choices here. Kind of see what kind of path we can go down to. Hopefully get that 100% completion. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourself and each other.